Hello there, and welcome to my new video. This one is entitled Pulling Rabbits Out of Hats. And yeah, I think you'll rapidly see where I'm going with this one, as our monkey is trying to be an old-fashioned stage magician. So, it's first and foremost, the devil is in the details, and I will give you some facts that are very important to this case. So, I mentioned in another video about ordering gene blocks from IDT, still not sponsored, but the gene blocks need to be at least 125 base pairs long. Their upper limit currently, as of recording, is 3,000, so 3 kbs they can do, but that's their upper limit. If you want anything bigger, you have to paste them together, okay? But this time, since the magnifying glass is out, this will be about genes and clones that are so small. But still on the subject of small size, PCR cleanup kit, or at least the Quagen one, which I use and love, also not sponsored, their minimum size is 100 base pairs, because after all, below 100 base pairs, surely you're a primer, surely you're a primer dimer, you're something undesirable. So it's actually baked into the features of the PCR cleanup kit that it will not just fail to purify, but actively remove stuff below 100 base pairs. So that is worth keeping in mind. It's super important. And similarly, as if you've watched a few of my videos, you know that gel extraction is an essential part of my workflow. Without it, you're kind of doing the trapeze without a safety net. And similarly, the gel extraction kit, it also touts a minimum size of 100 base pairs. So post-PCR, you want to be able to extract this guy, but also post-digest for your PCR cleanup, that's your operational floor. So we're not talking about upper limits, we're talking about lower limits. And this can be a problem. And this is actually based on real events that just recently someone asked me to clone something terribly small. So in light of that, let's take a look at construct anatomy. So here we have our monkey has now suddenly become an old-timey doctor, and he is checking out the literal anatomy of a good construct. And here comes our pointer that, yes, you've got your gene, you've got your PCR product. Here is the product itself. It's digested. Yes, they didn't do the great job. Thank you, ChatGPT. Point is, it ligates into the plasmid. But let's, for this example, focus on the 3' end of the gene. So what do we have to think about in that context is the region after the stop codon isn't read by the ribosome. And I know it's like me saying water is wet and the sun also shines, but think about it this way. So technically, a PCR product could have the stop codon at the end of the thing that you want. Stay with me here, people. You could have stuff afterwards. And historically, when I've had, say, a clone that I want to clone into vector A, and I've already got my eyes set on vectors B and C, and I can't believe I'm saying these words, they don't use BAM and NOT. What if they use BAM and XHO1 or BAM and something else? So what you can use is after the stop codon, before your final restriction site, you could, say, throw in a few extra restriction sites for future proofing. So that way, you have your stop codon, then, quick zo, a quick something, and then you're not one site because, hey, you're creatures of habit like me, right? So keeping that in mind, but you can also use this area, the area between your stop codon and your not one site in this example, for bulking up, which, yes, I know, feels like we're going to the gym or something. But, yeah, and this shady individual is wanting to show you the benefits of, in this scenario, if we want to express an adorable little peptide, which is 72 base pairs long, in the gene, but yes, amino acids, I can't do that in my head. Point is it 23? Oh, anyway, 24, yes. Point is, that is terribly small, and it is below the operational floor. So that is a problem. What are you going to do? Because after all, this is surely... And also, as an aside, after all, in this scenario, I was lucky that it was from a pre-existing clone. He suddenly had a deep desire for a small segment of it. But what if you don't even have a template? That's a question I'll answer shortly. But circling round to what are you going to do? Add primates to your primer. And yep, I will explain myself momentarily. Maybe some of you will even see where I'm going with this. So Introducing our dream peptide. This is a fictional peptide which I literally grabbed out of dear old tab 1. Yep, I'm a creature of habit in many ways. And so, yes, I specifically picked 72 base pairs in length, blah, blah, blah. Here's the amino acid translation. So, as you know, we're coming to this fresh, brand new, yeah. Oh, I've never met you before, Mr. Jeans. So what are you going to do? We're going to pick out, using my GC equals 4 and AAT equals 2 rule, we want to grab primers of 66 degrees TM for both the forward and reverse. So, boop. Yeah, here's one I made earlier. So there's them marked onto the DNA, but those primers, of course, don't have restriction sites yet. So let's add that to the picture. So, twink, here we go. Our forward primer now has a BAM H1 site and AAA for the landing, which, yes, if you're paying attention, that is important. And I've also bolted on the stop code on the end here, and my not one site and AAA. But still, we are way below the minimum weight limit. And thinking about it with post not one and post BAM H1, you're going to lose like 4 nucleotides there and 5 there. This is not good. You're still way below the weight limit. So now, here is where the magic happens. And I basically had a bit of a light bulb moment when I was trying to solve the equivalent conundrum for my colleague, is I realized, hey, between the stop codon and the not one side, I can add whatever my little heart desires. And yes, thanks to ChatGPT, I found that you could add maybe dirty words or whatever, but since this is, a family channel, I added, wait for it, primates, because this is purple monkey DNA after all. So still in green we see where our primers actually bind to the handy dandy template that we have. But yes, our reverse template is kind of beefy. It codes for primates, which will of course never see a ribosome and never actually become a freaky peptide. There's our not one. So we have a beefy reverse primer. Our forward primer is still stock, but if you found yourself in, for example, a situation where you still needed to gain even more, which, yes, feels a little unlikely, you could, for example, if upstream in the vector this is eventually going to be in, you maybe had a precision protease site and intended to cleave it off, right? So if you really had to get a few extra weights to get up to the fighting size, you could, for example, add a repetition of the precision site between the BAM H1 and the start of your actual peptide. Because, you've got 2 cleavage sites instead of 1. They'll both get cleaved, so who's going to know? That's a bit abstract, but it is an option that is out there. But now let's circle back to the passing reference I made as, hey, what if you don't have no template? And yes, you could, of course, take this lovely design, but it's still not big enough to be a gene block. So you would actually have to order a gene block and maybe insert some extra blah blah at the end. Then they would accept your 125 base pair order. Boop, you'd be a proud owner of a template. However, if you, for example, ordered just a single oligo, as well as your 2 here, yeah, duh. So order a third oligo, which literally starts from here and goes all the way to there. Just a single strand. It doesn't matter which. And the point is, you take that oligo, which, yes, I mean, it's 81 bases, so, it's not tiny, but it's also not enormous. You order that, dilute it like 1 in 200 or more, and then use that as a template for your PCR. Ta-da! I mean, I don't know if it'll be that much cheaper than a gene block, but it could add up if you have lots of these that you want to do. For example, that's a trick I have used if I need to literally, circling back to pulling a rabbit out of a hat, before ordering a super petite gene block, I would often just order a really nice, cute oligo and have other oligos beef it up above the size limit, because you have to keep thinking about, am I going below the 100 base pair limit? That's important. And yes, I realize this is a bit of an esoteric example, but I'm hoping that it sets your imagination a-going to think, hey, if you have an urge to put something in, either for giggles, for weight, or for versatility, this is one place where you can absolutely get away with it, and who's going to know? So only you and your sequencing company. Anyway, that I think is enough for now, so let's of course move forward to the important part of the video. Ta-da! You get your plasmid, monkey's happy, and yes, even he doesn't notice that there's primates coded at the end of the gene. And if you love my videos and love the monkey, or both, and you have the urge to enrich me by buying me a coffee, then here is my handy link. It's also in my bio, and thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.